All right, let's open the first issue of what is really a modern-day comic book epic. This is the story of a family of gods who walked among mortals, a dynasty that built a global empire on the very idea of reality, only to watch that become their greatest weakness. Today we're chronicling the incredible rise, the absolute reign, and the potential downfall of the Kardashian Empire. Wow. They became more like cartoon characters than real people. That quote, that right there is the whole story, isn't it? It's the central conflict. It's the fatal flaw, the kryptonite in our superhero's journey. You see, at some point, the line between who they were and what they were selling got so blurry that the audience felt like they were just watching a cartoon. And that is the exact moment our story takes a very, very sharp turn.
Okay, Act 1. Every great superhero saga needs an origin story, right? Well, this one is a doozy. It's all about how an empire was literally forged in the fires of a massive public scandal.
So let's rewind to 2007. This is the origin issue. You gotta remember back then, Kim Kardashian was, well, she was Paris Hilton's closet organizer. Seriously, a sidekick on the absolute fringes of fame. And then, bam, the catalyst. A private tape gets leaked. Now, for pretty much anyone else on the planet, that is game over, a career-ending catastrophe. But the Kardashians had a secret weapon, their very own Professor X, the mastermind Kris Jenner. Instead of hiding, she saw an opening. She took all that chaotic media attention and spun it into gold, leveraging it into a reality TV show. And just like that, Keeping Up with the Kardashians was born, turning a total disaster into the launchpad for a dynasty. It was kinda genius.
So why did it explode? I mean, what was the secret sauce? Well, the formula was completely new and utterly addictive. The show gave us what felt like 24/7 all-access passes to their lives. There was constant, and I mean constant, family drama. Fights that felt so raw, so unfiltered, you almost felt like you shouldn't be watching. It was this wild mix of a lavish, over-the-top lifestyle with, real, messy human emotions. And Kris, the puppet master, had each family member playing their role perfectly. Kim was the star, Khloe was the tough but hilarious one, Kourtney was the deadpan older sister. It was aspirational, but somehow, for a long time, it felt real, and the world was absolutely hooked. And with that winning formula locked in, the family entered their golden age. Suddenly, they weren't just reality TV stars anymore. They were a global brand, a genuine cultural force. This is Act 2, the peak, when they built an unstoppable multi-billion-dollar empire. Just look at this. The sheer scale of Kardashian Incorporated is staggering. That TV show, that was just the foundation. The real power came when they conquered social media, basically writing the rule book on how to turn likes and followers into a new kind of global currency. And then came the brands. My goodness, the brands. You had Kim's Skims, which completely reshaped an entire industry. And then there's Kylie Jenner, the youngest, the prodigy, who built a cosmetics empire that for a time supposedly made her a billionaire. It was this perfect, self-fueling machine where every single aspect of their fame was monetized. The show promoted the brands, the social media promoted the show. It was flawless. But, as every comic book fan knows, every hero has a weakness, a kryptonite. And for the Kardashians, it turns out their greatest superpower, that feeling of authenticity, was also their fatal flaw. So, welcome to Act 3, the authenticity crisis. This is where the audience started to wonder, are we watching a family or a 24/7 advertisement? This right here, this slide, explains everything. Think about then, why we all got hooked. Despite all the money, they felt human. Their fights were messy, their lives were chaotic, and that was relatable. But over time, that feeling just vanished. Every move started to feel calculated. Every scene felt like a setup for a new product launch. And that relatability was replaced with this highly polished, artificial, unattainable perfection that just started to push people away. And this became the #1 complaint you'd hear from people. Especially when they moved to a new show, viewers felt a huge shift. Instead of organic family moments, it felt like sitting through a long business meeting. It was like, cut to Kim discussing Skims. Okay, now let's pop over to Kylie talking about a new lip kit. Then, here's Khloe promoting a health brand. The raw family drama that got us hooked now just seemed like filler between product placements. And look, audiences aren't stupid. They knew they were being sold to, and they started to get bored. Now, an empire like this doesn't just collapse overnight. It's more like death by 1,000 cuts. It happens slowly, with cracks appearing in the foundation one by one.
So now let's look at the specific scandals and missteps that really started to erode the Kardashian brand in the public eye. It's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? So where did it all go wrong? Well, the thing is, it wasn't just one single event. It was more like a cascade, a pile-up of bad press and questionable moments that signaled the beginning of the end. Let's break it down. The story of Kylie Jenner is the perfect case study. First, she gets the crown from Forbes, youngest self-made billionaire, a massive PR victory. But then comes the deception. Forbes, the very same magazine, publishes a bombshell report basically saying, actually, never mind, the numbers were inflated. Public trust? Shattered. Then that was followed by a messy, perceived online feud with Selena Gomez, who was basically untouchable. It just came across as mean. The consequence was immediate and brutal. A massive Unfollow Kylie campaign went viral, she lost millions of followers, and it proved the public was just sick and tired of what they saw as celebrity arrogance. And the problems didn't stop with Kylie, not by a long shot. The family faced constant accusations of cultural appropriation, particularly taking from Black culture without giving any credit. The show's storylines became painfully repetitive. I mean, how many times can we watch the same relationship drama play out? And then the internet turned on them. YouTube became flooded with these deep-dive video essays analyzing the dark side of the Kardashians. And you could feel the public mood shift. Just go look at the comment sections. The adoration was gone, replaced by this collective, exhausted sigh. We are just so tired of you. But here's the thing. Maybe the biggest reason for their decline had nothing to do with any single scandal. Maybe the simple truth is, the world changed. The culture shifted right underneath their feet. And for the first time in a decade, the family that defined the culture was suddenly being left behind it by it. This chart says it all. After 2020, there was this massive vibe shift. Look at that tiny bar for the curated super celebrity. Interest just fell off a cliff. Now look at the huge bar for the authentic, relatable creator. That's what people crave now. They want realness, messiness, imperfection. And the entire Kardashian brand, which was built on impossible glamour and photoshopped perfection, suddenly felt incredibly outdated. I mean, this is the new reality, right? The power has shifted. We'd rather watch the creator filming a chaotic TikTok in their messy bedroom than the celebrity posting a flawless photo from a private jet. People want connection, not just aspiration built on some fantasy. And in a world grappling with very real problems, the constant display of extreme wealth and hyper-edited lives started to feel completely out of touch. They were selling a dream that nobody really wanted to buy anymore. So all of that brings us to today, the final chapter. Maybe. The empire's still standing, but the walls have some serious damage. Is this just a quiet moment before their next big comeback? Or are we actually witnessing the final pages of their story being written? They are at a crossroads, a critical point where a massive decision has to be made. They have a choice. Do they evolve, shed that artificial skin, and find a new way to connect with a world that wants authenticity? Or do they just keep doing what they're doing and risk fading into total irrelevance? And that's the ultimate cliffhanger. Are we just witnessing the end of one story arc, a temporary dip before the next big relaunch? Or is this something more permanent, the actual end of the entire series? For a family that controlled the narrative for so long, the final chapter just might be the one they don't get to write themselves.